This production of Titan TV will look a little different. The motto for our broadcasting program is by students, for students. But for one day only, we are allowing our teachers to take over the broadcast for Teacher Appreciation Week. You're watching Titan TV, by teachers, for students.
Coming up, the final band and choir concerts are coming up soon. Both of them are events that you do not want to miss.
The end of the year is in sight, which means it's important to end the year strong. Mrs. Church has some hot tips for us.
And I have information for the last official track meet.
And of course, we have all of our top stories and club news to report on. This is your Titans Today by students, for students.
Coming to you live on tape from Studio 306. This is Titans Today, Northside Middle School's weekly announcement broadcast. Today is May 8th. Now let's go to the newsroom with your host, Mrs. Jackson and Mr. Harder. And I tell you what, that boy ain't right.
Good afternoon, Titans. I am Mrs. Jackson.
And I'm Mr. Harder.
And welcome to this week's edition of Titans Today.
This is a special edition as it is our annual Teachers Edition. And this week is Teacher Appreciation Week.
I don't know if this makes it special, but we are actually not in the studio. We're not in Studio 306 right now.
No, we're in Studio 304, aka Mr. Deniston's classroom.
Yes, due to weather leak situation, weather, yes.
Water weather.
Yes, due to a water leak situation, the Titan TV crew had to move out of Studio 306 and rebuild a smaller set inside our temporary home, Studio 304.
Sadly, this will be our temporary home until the next school year.
But remember, the key word is temporary.
With that being said,
let's tighten up with this week's news. Any Titans looking to show off a talent? The Titan Showcase, an annual variety show, is back. Auditions are today, and the recording is May 19th. Then we will all enjoy watching the broadcast on May 22nd. Talk to Mr. D for more information.
do you love writing? If so, Indiana Writing Project's multi-genre writing camp is open to all middle schoolers. Students will participate in writing workshops and collaborative activities. It is from June 12th to the 23rd, from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. each day.
Attention, all 8th graders. Your 21st Century Scholars application are due at the end of the year. See Mrs. Marlatt or Miss Roberts for more information.
The end of the year is in sight, but we want to make sure to celebrate all of you before you leave, so make sure to be here on May 24th and the 25th. On May 24th, the 6th grade award ceremonies will take place in the auditorium at 1 p.m. Then on the same day, in the same place, the 7th grade will have their ceremony at 2:30 p.m. Finally, on Thursday, May 25th, the 8th grade recognition ceremony will take place in the gym at 1:30 p.m. All of these events will be live streamed, as well as right here on Titan TV.
Ready for some band music? Come and hear all MCS bands in their annual Bandorama concert. This will include all of our Northside bands. Come on out to the Fieldhouse on May 17th at 7 p.m.
Then on the very next day, come see all our Northside choirs perform for their final concert. It is not just any concert, but actually a rock concert with the music of Journey, Queen, Bon Jovi, Kansas, and Aerosmith. This starts at 7 p.m. on Thursday, May 18th. This is free to the public and will also be live streamed right here on Titan TV.
And those are our top stories for today.
So many events are happening in the lives of Titans this month.
Speaking of events, let's go over...
But wait, there's more.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Be sure to come to the Muncie Fieldhouse for the art show starting on Thursday, and it'll run until Saturday. It'll be great to see the amazing work of all of our Northside artists.
Totally.
But before
Speaking of events, let's go over to Miss Stevens for On This Day in History.
But before that, here's Miss Bizot with the weather.
Yes.
Thanks, Mrs. Jackson and Mr. Harder. Looking at today's weather, look for conditions to be cloudy with a high of 73 degrees and a low of 56 degrees. The rest of the week looks to include clouds with the highs in the 70s and the lows in the 50s. Then taking a look at the weekend, this Saturday will be cloudy with a high of 73 degrees and a low of 54 degrees. And Sunday will be cloudy with a high of 73 degrees and a low of 56 degrees. That's all of the weather here in Titan TV land and beyond. Now time for On This Day in History with Miss Stevens.
On this day, in 1979, The Cure released their debut album, Three Imaginary Boys, Boys Don't Cry, in the US and Australia. Also on this day, in 1884, Harry Truman, who was the 33rd President of the United States, was born in Lamar, Missouri. And in the sporting world, in 1984, the Soviet Union says they are not going to participate in the Los Angeles Olympics. And finally today is National Student Nurse Day, so be sure to celebrate all those students working hard. And that is a look at what happened on this day in history. Now back to you, Mr. Harder.
Thank you, Miss Stevens.
Only a couple more weeks left before summer break.
Ah, summer. I can't wait.
Me either. But do you want to know one way to make this summer great?
Oh, please tell me how.
A great way to have an amazing summer is to finish this school year strong.
I couldn't agree more.
To help us with this, here is Assistant Principal Church with some hot tips.
Hi, Mrs. Church here. Students, we're in the final month of our 21-22 school year. Summer break may be right around the corner and high school's on the horizon for our 8th graders, but it's very important that you give your best effort this last month. To help you out with this, here are some hot tips. Hot tip number 1, refocus your energy on the things that matter the most. Don't get easily distracted by things that are irrelevant or superficial in the long run, but still find time to relax and enjoy life. Just do it in moderation. Hot tip number 2, create a schedule for yourself. Plan out time requirements in order to complete every assignment. Try to stick to your schedule, making adjustments and taking enough time to study. Hot tip number 3, get help if you need it. Many teachers are happy to help their students and aid them in improving overall. As well, fellow students can help explain things in ways that make more sense. Study groups are useful too. They can be very effective before big tests or exams. Hot tip number 4, take short breaks while studying and working on assignments, which helps to maintain focus. Hot tip number 5, during any assessments, make sure to relax and breathe if you have any anxiety and attempt to answer every question to the best of your ability. If you don't know something or if you're spending too much time on a specific problem, check back to it later. Hot tip number 6, start projects and essays many days in advance. Again, planning your time wisely so they can be completed on time, thoroughly, and effectively. Hot tip number 7, forgive yourself for anything you feel you've done wrong. It's best to move on and start fresh in a new direction with an open mind. Hot tip number 8, commit to everything you set your mind to. Believe that you can achieve the best for yourself and go on from there. And finally, hot tip number 9, remember to sit back once in a while and reflect on all of the accomplishments and good things that you've happened, both school-related and not. Like I said, Titans, let's try and finish this year out strong. The more you accomplish now, the better your summer break will be. I'm Mrs. Church, and these are your hot tips for today.
Thank you, Mrs. Church. Now it is time to see what our Titans have been doing in the world of Titan sports.
Take it away, Mr. Pryor.
Good afternoon, Titans. Yeah, it's Coach's Corner with your favorite coach, Mr. Pryor. Hey, Titans, we are in the home stretch of our final track meet next Wednesday. Yes, we're going to Newcastle Trojans, the Trojan land. And the meet starts at 5 p.m. But don't fear, Titans. Even though we're at the end of the season, we're not at the end, really. Because we have 0 hour. Yes, 0 hour. That was Coach Zorn and Coach Witt. Every Mondays and Wednesdays from 4 o'clock to 4:45. Come up, we work on athletics, conditioning, character building, and most of all, the Titan way. because we want to keep it tightened up. Are we done? No. Why didn't you read the script? And that's it for Coach's Corner. Hey, I'm Coach Pryor. Let's send it back to Mrs. Jackson.
Well done, Mr. Pryor.
I would say it again. There are so many things for our students to join here at NMS.
Speaking of joining, our friends and colleagues, Speaking of joining, our friends and colleagues, Ms. Gudger and Mrs. Meinerding, will take over the news desk here in a moment for club news.
Which means we must step aside.
But before we do that, here is Mrs. Hall and Mr. Wickware for this week's Birthdays and Trivia Challenge.
Thanks, Mrs. Jackson. We are excited to celebrate our Titans by wishing them a happy birthday today. Happy birthday to Caden P., Emaya E., Sophia H., Cassandra H., William K., Madison B., Graham B. Those are all of the birthdays. It is time now to test your knowledge with this week's Trivia Challenge. Take it away, Mr. Wickware.
Thanks, Mrs. Hall. Last week's answer for in what movie did Julia Andrews make her return to singing was Princess Diaries 2, The Royal Engagement. The success classes of Cardi, Mazzell, Teal, Rains, Deniston, Matthews, Santon, Turner, Harris, Young guessed the correct answers. This keeps Miss Cardi's class in first place with 5 points. Miss Mazzell's and Teal's classes are in second with 4 points, and tied for third are the classes of Deniston and Rains with 3 points. Now time for this week's question. In honor of Teacher Appreciation Week, who is this current NMS teacher? Guess after the broadcast and send your answer in using the Info Hub. That's all for Trivia Challenge. Now back to you all in the studio.
Thank you, Mr. Wickware. Happy birthday to those Titans and good luck to all of those success classes.
Titans, Mrs. Meinerding and I are excited to bring you the second portion of this broadcast.
Think back to the beginning of the year when Mr. Williams first talked to all of you. He had a challenge.
The challenge was to join 3 clubs or sports this year.
So to help with that, here is this week's club news.
Having trouble with your homework? If so, go to Homework Help after school until 5, Monday through Thursday. Talk to the office if you are interested in the virtual option. You must have a permission slip to attend, sponsored by the Pryor Foundation.
Hey musician, you want to play music like never before? Then come on down to the Titan Jazz on Wednesday mornings from 8 a.m. to 8:45. Band room, and remember, you don't have to be in the band to join.
Are you trying to take your fantasies to another level? If so, the D&D Club is every Wednesday after school until 5:30 in Mr. Harder's room. If you have any questions, go talk to Mr. Harder.
Are you interested in singing more in your life? Then our Titan choir clubs are for you. Fierce Voices is for high voice singers, and they meet on Tuesdays, while our lower voice singers, Titan Voice, meet on Thursdays. Both clubs are from 8 a.m. to 8:45 a.m. in the choir room. Make sure to enter at door 8.
Rise and shine, Christian athletes. We will be having FCA on Friday in the choir room from 8 a.m. to 8:45 a.m. Everyone is welcome. That is all for our club news this week.
Again, make sure to get involved. It is never too late.
Would you believe that it is the end of this year's Teachers Edition? Did you all have a good time?
Yes.
It is such a fun experience to be on set.
This studio has been a safe place where no one has called me names for being the D&D sponsor.
Nerds.
Okay. We want to thank all of the students who made this possible.
Absolutely. Please take a look at the credits because the real stars today are the students in Mr. D's broadcasting class who wrote most of our scripts and made all of our graphics.
We want to also thank all of you for watching.
We know that you already have to listen to us in class every day, but it was a joy to create this for all of you.
So, until next time, for Mr. Harder, I'm Mrs. Meinerding.
And for Mrs. Jackson, I'm Miss Gudger.
Remember, the secret is effort.
And as always,
stay classy, Titans!
Is this a practice
Bright
round?
as the sun, I want to have some fun. Come and give me some of that yum chocolate chip honey dip. Can I get a soup? Baby, take a ride in my coupe. You make me want to shoot.
Shoo-ba-doo, 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 shoo-ba-doo. Oh, you make me wanna
Think so?
shoo-ba-doo.
That's just the last
And then you come in with the men's part.
This has been a
I quit. Where's my agent?
production.